This is not quite the easiest hitch I've ever had to do. Not the worst, though. It has been an exceedingly windy night. I actually put on my earplugs sometime after midnight just to block it out. Still not much of a view, but it is getting a little better as more of the leaves fall. I have been actively changing things around and hiking a little bit slower, so I'm spending less time in town. And I know I got warned that foliage season and all that is more expensive out here, but hey, these town stops are painful. This camp had pretty much everything I could have asked for, except, maybe seeing a bear on Bear Den, but oh well. I already got my bear this trail, so I can't be too greedy. Last night it got windy after dark to the point I was having trouble sleeping. Had to put my earplugs in, which is, one of the reasons I carry them. I don't particularly like sleeping in them because I have tinnitus and I like to be aware if, there's something big moving around the tent and it wakes me up. I'm probably good with being awake, but they do come in really, really handy. They are the loops. I got them on sale a while back. I thought I had lost them and I went looking for replacements, and they are stupid expensive. They seem to be kind of like Hyperlight. They just spend so much money on marketing that they get sales. I'm not saying Hyperlight is overpriced or anything, but they spend so much on marketing. You see what they're doing no matter where you are online. Out of curiosity, I did order the $50 sleep model they had off Amazon just to kind of compare with the cheaper version. And then I found mine, so I compared them with the version I had, and it's all bunk. I mean, they are just well-sculpted pieces of foam that just happen to sit in your ear well enough so you can sleep better than kind of the standard. And they do block sound well. I use them a lot when Jen and I are in the mountains, and everybody snores sometimes in cold weather and altitude and everything. So I'm happy with them, but I cannot recommend buying them just because of the price. There has to be some like AliExpress knockoff version of those that is a far better deal. It was cool last night, but not really cold. I had to take off my puffy. I had to unzip my sleeping bag through part of the night. This morning it's, cold fingers and fleece jacket, but not anywhere near using my long johns as hiking tights. However, I am seeing days of storms on the further out forecast. Hopefully at least some of that will fall around my last town stop. God, I need to stop trying to talk while I'm still choking on whatever I had for breakfast. So once I start the foothill trail on the 28th, I don't have much in the way of town stops. It looks like I can carry all the food I need to make it across the entire trail. When I get to the far terminus, the current plan is I'm going to now walk between the foothill trail and the Bartram start. There is a B&B out there Jen contacted. So we have a place where we can send a box with dinners and a couple of things, and that'll work as my kind of in-between trail stop. The Bartram, we are still gathering info on it, mostly just trying to see, is there bait on water or anything? And it goes through Franklin. There's actually like a 12 to 14 mile road walk, something like that. So there will at least be an opportunity there. I will say, though, part of the math of coming out and doing these trails was I thought it would be a little more affordable than other options, and that has not actually been the case, I don't think. We were worried about shuttle costs and things doing the Ozark-Ouachita combo. But I know that people go like leaf peeping out in California. I guess I didn't realize that foliage season was such a big thing and had such a big effect on hotels. I don't really have a choice tonight, but it is just painful how much we're paying for a single night. But is what it is. Prices seem like they're going up everywhere. Places seem like they're being hit by lack of tourism or drops in tourism, and everybody seems really worried / unsure. So I guess I'm just happy that I'm out on trail like this. So in about 7 miles, I hitch into Blue Ridge, which will hopefully be easy. There is a hotel down by the Walmart that has laundry and fast internet and all those things that I usually need. I can resupply at Walmart. And then there are supposedly a couple of restaurants. So usually I start scheming and going, okay, well, I can have lunch here and I can have dinner here. And then what happens is I go in, eat a massive amount, and then I'm in a food coma until about 10 o'clock at night where I start to get hungry again. And then the plan will be back on trail tomorrow, and I can divide up the remaining 50 some miles to get to Springer however I need over the next 3 nights. And then spend the night in town on the 27th because I got to do some things. And then on the 28th, I am getting picked up and driven over to the Foothill Trail start. From what I've been able to find online, both the Foothill and the Bartram should be in reasonably good shape. Again, I'm going to have to deal with some more rain and things like that, but it is what it is. I have been way luckier than I expected when I came out here. I was expecting things like the other day pretty much constantly the entire time I was out here, because that was my experience when I did the AT. No rain, no main, and all that. So, that is the beautiful Shenandoah River. Just like the John Denver song, it does make me kind of want to break out in song again. So I haven't seen any other hikers in a while here. Last one was a bit after the hangover area, I think. I am still seeing new comments in Far Out, so I know night before last, for example, somebody was at the shelter down below. Far Out has an option where you can view the most recent comments for an entire trail. Unfortunately, they don't let you scope it to a single geographic area, so on bigger trails, it's kind of a mess with you seeing comments from people, 200 miles away. But on something like this, it's useful to at least get an idea where a few people are. However, it is dependent on people actually making comments and then people syncing up whenever they have cell coverage. I have always thought that the great missing feature that Far Out could do, other than the kind of political / social considerations, is to do a heat map of the trail so you could see how many people were on what trails over time. There is a website on the AT. It's like, where are the hikers at, or something like that. However, that is historical data from years ago. Entertaining to look, and it's a good rule of thumb, but things change year to year, and Far Out has the ability to gather that sort of data, but there are always people that would scream about being spied on, so I doubt they would ever put that in. I know it would help me when I'm doing stuff, though. If for no other reason, then I could just kind of see when the peak times are and when things are kind of quieter, particularly on trails where camping is a little more limited. And welcome to the reason I had to kind of slow down here. I cannot tell if that is a tiny home or an outhouse, because I have seen outhouses that are that big. I really have to get my road walk and dog battling muscles back in shape here. I think the Bartram has like a 12 or 14 mile road walk. I've always really liked those kind of country house screened outdoor porches. I think we had some friends of the family we visited a lot when we still lived in Texas who had one, so happy childhood memories. This seems vaguely familiar, but I've walked through so much of rural America at this point. It's probably all running together. The worst part about walking through this neighborhood is I can smell people cooking breakfast. And I had a bar for breakfast. That was actually what broke me from cold soaking, sitting in campgrounds and seeing people eating hot food, drinking coffee, etc. Pretty much like I remembered. Really nice and fancy, very much in a neighborhood, very much tight quarters if you're sharing it. Granted, if I had come here and then there was no one here, I would be eating breakfast and having several pitchers of coffee right at the moment. So, and the one thing this doesn't really take into account for is people needing to use the bathroom in the morning. Because this is a really nice space they built, but there are cabins pretty much all over the place. Oh, this could be a fun hitch. This is not quite the easiest hitch I've ever had to do. Not the worst, though. So Jen warned me it was really busy in town, and sure enough, she was able to get me a reservation. It is expensive. However, they are currently all full, and they can't check me in early, so they're going to give me a call, and I am going to walk 1.5 miles across town to try and get Mexican food, apparently. Part of the advantage of staying here is there are lots of restaurants right around here. However, the Mexican food, sadly, is going to be a bit of a haul. I did look at getting a lift over there, but it was going to be $20 for 1.5 miles. The lady who stopped was actually a hiker. Her kids are out hiking and backpacking in Smoky Mountain National Park right now. So she actually turned around and came and got me, which was super nice. I guess maybe if I'd known this place was going to be a few hours, I would have asked her to drop me off across the way, but oh well. One of the great tragedies of a lot of these stops is there are plenty of things around, and it is totally not very walkable. I think I get to walk down this for a while. I guess on the plus side, this is a pretty good test of my new earbuds. Oh, that was more painful than it should have been. That was bloody amazing, except for the fact I now have to walk 1.5 miles back up 76 to get to the hotel. And it doesn't seem to have gotten any quieter. I did actually check Uber and Lyft, and yeah, nothing. Okay, that sucked. Totally worth it though. Okay, back down the hill. Quick trip to Walmart to get enough things to get me to Springer, and it looks like plans are coming together for the next 2 trails-ish. On one hand, I go out of my way to try and get, healthier food and some fruit and other things. And on the other hand, I'm like, I'm really craving ice cream-ish things. So resupply is all purchased, just have to triage it tonight. Got some fresh fruit, which is hopefully edible. Never really know what the Walmart pre-cut fruit counter thing. And I know where Starbucks is for early tomorrow morning. Unfortunately, my hotel is that light up there behind the trees. It is not the easiest or safest to access without a vehicle.